Hello, everyone. Once again, this is Fantastic Dimension. I'm Jerry,
Alex.
and we're going to talk about Alita Battle Angel. We saw it in theaters recently. Really cool, based on the anime. I saw the anime years ago. I loved it then,
I'm,
and
I'm new to it. That was my first time ever knowing about Alita, or in general.
yeah, and so we're just going to give you our take and our opinion, and tell you whether we liked it or not, or is it trash or what? No, we're not going to call it trash, but yeah, we're going to tell you what we thought about it. So let's get started. Let's start with the visual effects, just because it's a visual effects heavy movie, a lot of CGI. Personally, it was amazing to me visually. It looked beautiful. I was blown away. I actually saw some of the behind the scenes clips of Alita herself and how they did the motion capture and everything. It's stunning. It's phenomenal. I think it's some of the best I've seen in a long time. So very impressive visual effects, CGI. What did you think?
I definitely thought it was beautiful. Like the movie was extremely beautiful. Like I was pulled in with the visual, effects that they had in the movie. So I give that an A plus.
Yeah, definitely. And what I appreciated about it was the fact that throughout the movie, as it progressed, I forgot that it was CGI. Like it was like, yeah, initially I'm like, wow, and there's lots of eye candy, right? The city and all that stuff. But man, once you're in the story and you're just following along, for me, I forgot that this is a digital person walking around. Even though you see the exaggerated eyes and everything, even that wasn't. It didn't throw me off. It was like, I don't know. They did it so well, right? It just allowed me to forget that it was animation, and that's not easy. That's an amazing thing to achieve, I think, in a cinema. So yeah, I mean, wow. All I can say is wow. It's just really cool. So anything else?
No, I mean keep the ball rolling.
Um, I think the adaptation in regards to the story was pretty well done, which is, well, I wouldn't say it's rare, but a lot of times when, books or anime even are adapted for the big screen, they don't translate well. I have to say, I think this translated pretty good. Just from what I remember from the anime, it followed the same beats pretty well. It wasn't, I didn't feel like anything was missing. I do feel like they tried to be very spot on, which isn't bad, but they probably didn't have to do that. But still, yeah, the beats were there. There were certain scenes that were in anime that they didn't do, which is fine. But overall, yeah, I mean, it was pretty much beat for beat the same story, which is kind of good and bad.
Yeah,
So that's my.
yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch the animation, so I'm in a movie theater asking Jerry like questions and things like that.
Hey, what is
But
this? What does this mean?
this is my guy, so I'm definitely going to take his word for it. So
Yeah, it was well done. The story pacing, and you brought up a point about that after we saw it, that it felt kind of specifically the relationship between Hugo and Lita, right?
yes,
You were saying that it felt kind of rushed.
yeah, and for me, I feel like that was my. I think that was actually I think probably or my only knock on the movie. I felt like their relationship was a little rushed. Rushed. And spoiler alert. When he dies at the end.
Yeah,
I didn't feel as much as I felt I should have felt. Only because I did feel like it was rushed. Uh, you know. Yeah, that was my take on their relationship.
yeah, and you know what? I know what you mean. I think I had the same feeling that it felt kind of rushed, and they didn't really develop it very well. So I wish they would have spent more time developing their relationship and getting them to a place where the conflict they experienced made more sense and felt more, I don't know, like more intense. Like the part where, she's rescuing him from the bounty hunter, and she fights him off, and then they go inside, and this segues into sort of the dislikes now, where she's inside I guess it was some kind of abandoned chapel or something, and he's dying, because they framed him for murder, and he's laying there, and she's Alita's, she's distraught, right, and then Sharon is kind of, I guess in the back, like sneaking up on him and eavesdropping, and she sees her weeping, and magically she decides, let me help Alita, and
Yeah, that was my like that was another thing about them for me that was like I was like that's a little rushed because
yeah, yeah,
they never gave the viewer a true reason, for us to
yeah.
believe that she would help her,
Right,
lead
right.
herself.
It
So
just came out of nowhere.
yeah,
There was no real setup for it. At least none
yeah,
that we noticed. I mean, maybe upon watching it again, maybe we'll see something. But it was like, why does she even care to
exactly.
help her? I mean, it doesn't. It just didn't make any sense. It was like, oh, I guess I'll help her now that I see that she's crying and she's sad.
Yeah,
It's like, okay, So that part was strange. I felt like
yeah,
that was forced. Like there was nothing to set it up properly, so the payoff was there. It would have been nice if it was kind of. It was definitely a ex machina moment, but I feel like those kind of moments can work if they're executed well. But
yes,
I don't think this was executed very well. I think they kind of shoehorned that in, probably just to have a reason to segue into the rest of the story, like to finish up the second act and get into the third act and finally finish the movie. And it probably would have been better to flesh out the story and just do a sequel. To end it somewhere where maybe he's just wanted for murder and he has to go on the run, and now he's being hunted. Alita saves his life, but he is mortally wounded. And if you set up the Sharon character properly, then she could be that sort of ex machina that comes in and saves his life. And you kind of just end the movie there.
yeah,
Like, maybe you have some other big battle or whatever that takes place, but then you end the movie. And then in the sequel is where he has to deal with being a cyborg himself. Alita, deals with the anger towards him because, he's a hypocrite, right? He was hunting down cyborgs and yet professing his love for a cyborg. So, which is compelling, but I think it fell a little flat because
yeah,
the
definitely.
pacing of the story was rushed, the
Yeah,
relationship, and then, like I said, that scene I felt like kind of robbed it of the emotion. The
yeah,
intensity that would have been there had they done it differently. So that's my take. I mean,
yeah. For me, since I didn't watch the animation, so it's probably longer, But I think
mm,
that movie was very long to me. So what I believe is that
yeah, it did feel long.
in the beginning, the movie was started off great. Like I was very locked in on the movie in the beginning, but I think towards the end that they were trying to. I feel like they were trying to force shove in, probably 10 episodes worth of a series into one movie.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
feel like that's why we got those, that Sharon, helping leader for no real reason, and then you know the re- the reason that Hugo and Lita's relationship fell kind of flat on when he dies at the end, and it just I think for me that's why those things kind of like didn't really pay off that well because I felt like they were trying to put a lot into one movie.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think they tried to put a very big story into a very short movie. And I mean, maybe they could have just made a long movie. Like Interstellar was like 3.5 hours. hey, why not 3.5 hours of Alita? Flesh out those characters, man, and don't skimp
We
on it.
need some
I
more
mean,
Lord of the Rings, more Harry
yeah,
Potters.
why not?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great story. So it's basically a futuristic female Pinocchio type of situation,
Yeah.
right? So which is just that alone. Saying that sounds awesome. So yeah, I think there was some missed opportunity to really do something spectacular. Although overall, I did enjoy the movie. It was fun. Excuse me. It was entertaining. It kept me, glued to the screen. So I'm not disappointed in it at all. It's actually a very solid film,
Yeah.
and
I mean, to be
I'm
honest,
definitely happy that I watched
I
it.
definitely enjoyed myself. This with the action in the movie, like the action, like kind of, man, when she's doing her thing, she's doing her thing.
Yeah, yeah, they
Like
nailed that
yeah,
really
like
well.
they
It's
like you
it's
want
like
to see her fight, like you
yeah,
want to
yeah,
see,
and
because
and to bring up speaking of fighting, and the idea of, once again, spoiler alert, she doesn't have her memories, right? She's found in this junk pile by this scientist, engineer,
Dr. Dyson.
and he rescues her, puts her back together, gives her his daughter's body that he made for his daughter, and his daughter's passed away, of course. And it's fascinating that her memories, she doesn't remember who she is, where she came from, how she got where she was. But later in the movie, there's a scene where she starts fighting. She's defending the professor, and she gets flashes of her past. And it's kind of like the more she fights, the more she remembers. To the point where she's like, I gotta fight now. Like, that's how I'm gonna find out who I am. I have to fight. I have to do it. And I love that because I think it's very appealing, and it's very fitting for the character that her memory loss and her getting her memories back is tied to the violence, right? Because her past, she's a warrior. She was like this soldier, basically, this kind of super soldier, and so it makes sense that violence would be the key to her
Yeah,
memories, because it was probably through violence that she lost her memories, right? So
yeah,
it's somewhat poetic. They could have probably, emphasized that more, like
man,
just in the form of execution and
man,
character development. But still, that was one aspect of Alita that I
man,
appreciated. And also, and
yeah,
this is contrasting with Captain Marvel, to bring up Captain Marvel again.
yeah.
Here we have two movies, came out roughly the same time.
Female led.
Female led, strong females, right? Powerful. And one falls flat, right? Captain Marvel. We gave a C on that, watch our first video from last week. And because we couldn't feel the character, we just didn't resonate with her. But
Yes.
here in Alita, oh man, that's the one thing I really appreciate about this movie, is that I do feel a connection with Alita, because she does actually struggle to get to the level that she ends up at by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And that's what's kind of beautiful about Alita, compared in contrast to Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel, she doesn't earn her powers. Like, there's nothing she does that happens to her that forces her to rise to the occasion, or to change, or to and she doesn't lose anything. She doesn't lose a loved one. It's like there's nothing that happens to her where you feel vested. You feel like, wow, like I see why she's the way she is now.
Yeah.
Versus with Alita, it's like you see why she's the way she is, especially at the end when she loses Hugo,
Yeah.
right? Because Hugo's on the run, they want to kill him, and he's desperate. He's trying to get to the floating city. She's trying to stop him. She's like, "Don't do it. It's a trap." And she actually, you almost think, okay, she's gonna rescue him, and then she doesn't.
Yeah.
And she can't do. She fails, and
And
that's something that is key to creating endearing characters. A lot of people, commentators lately especially, like to talk about why villains are great, and they're great, or at least I should say, what makes a great villain. And what makes a great villain is sympathy, right? We sympathize with the villain. Well, you know what? It's the same with the hero. What makes a great hero is the same thing. We sympathize and we empathize with them. We feel like we project onto them our own selves. And we feel like, yes, we can relate to their struggles. And with Alita, they did a great job of
Yeah,
conveying
man.
that struggle.
I really got pulled in, really got pulled into the story when that scene, man, when she's fighting like the head, I guess the head bounty hunter, and man, she loses all of her body parts, and it was like she like jumps up
Yeah.
on one
Oh
finger, and
my
I was like,
God. Yeah, I was
Jesus, and I'm like,
insane.
yeah, I was like, that
I mean,
is
she got
great.
jacked
Man, if
up.
you can't get pulled in, if you can't get pulled into something like
and
that,
and you
and
felt
she,
like she, like she could really be destroyed now. Like,
yeah,
especially if you're like, you tell me. I mean, you
yeah,
hadn't seen the anime, right?
yeah,
So you didn't know. I mean, in that scene when you see, okay, she is literally ripped apart.
yeah.
Did you think, oh, she's about to bite it?
Man,
Like,
what I thought was, I'm like, okay, somebody's about to come in and save her. But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
for me it was like when she gets up on this, has one arm and no legs and anything but upper body, and she just jumps up on her one arm and she finds a way to still attack this guy
Yeah, she still
and
injures the
takes
guy.
him out and takes him. I'm like, I mean, takes him out, take one of his eyes out. It
Yeah,
was
it's
like,
like what?
man, that's amazing, man,
Yeah, it
because
was, and it sounds ridiculous, right?
yeah,
Just imagine just describing this.
yeah,
It sounds absurd,
but
but
it
if you watch the scene, it's such a great scene. It's so beautifully done and well choreographed. You're like, yeah, I believe it. I
But
can
not,
accept that.
but it's not even like it's in the title of the movie. It's called Alita
Battle
Battle
Angel,
Angel.
yeah,
Man, this
and
girl is a
she
really
battles,
she
yeah,
battles
she
and
gets
the
it done,
fight scenes are like, be honest, like none I've ever seen. Like
yeah.
there's like, if I was to talk about fight scenes and compare them to other fight scenes in different movies, I will, from what I saw over time, I will put hers at the top of my list because, not saying at the very top, not ranking anything, but that she would be in that conversation because
Yeah,
there were some
well,
great fighting scenes.
and
In
that was kind of what I appreciated because it made me feel like I was watching the anime in a way. Like
yeah,
the way they had her move, the choreography.
yeah,
It was very fun and very loose and just dynamic,
yeah,
and it just worked. It worked very well. It did seem in those scenes. It did seem more cartoony. That's kind of where I went from forgetting that it's animation to being reminded, oh yeah, it's animation,
yeah.
because she did some amazing, gravity defying moves. So, you're not gonna go like, oh yeah, that's possible. Of course not. And but still, it was so much fun to watch.
Yeah, it was there.
And
It
I
was.
especially love like at the beginning when she was playing the Powerball,
Mm-hmm.
and they're it's her first time.
Yes.
She's never done it, and she's messing up. Right, she's
Yes.
falling down and she's getting it wrong, and she
Mm-hmm.
loses a round. But then
Yes.
she's like, okay, I get it, and then she comes back and she masters it. And it's just another one of those scenes where there's character development where they give you a reason to root for her and to want her to overcome, and it's actually very well done. And they do that throughout the whole movie with the bounty hunters, with the rollerball tournament and everything. When everybody's out to kill her, and each time it just escalates and escalates. And this character is something where you just root for her. You really want her to win.
Yeah, and I think what made the story would have made it better. I feel like they were trying to It was such a big story. I feel like that they were trying to
Yeah.
focus on many different aspects at a time.
Yeah,
So I
I
think
agree.
if they would have just focused on going back off of what you just said with that rollerball, it was called again? The rollerball,
Powerball,
the Powerball,
yeah,
and basically if they would have, if he says, how it's she fails, which is good, but I feel like she also succeeded a little quick. I feel like if they
yeah,
focused
yeah.
on that particular part of the story, like her through the whole movie, she like trying to get into this shadow ball and find a way to get to there, and you see her
Yeah, and
develop
actually
that.
win the tournament.
Yeah, but
and all that, yeah.
through the video is like she's fighting, she's playing Powerball, shadow ball, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
And it's just so many different aspects that it kind of pulls you in different directions. What's
It's
the
a
whole
lot. It's a lot happening very quickly.
very quickly. So
kind of messes with the pacing of the film.
yes,
Because because it's still a decent, pretty good, length film.
yes, definitely, yeah,
So there's a lot going on, and there's so much visual eye candy, to take in. It's like wow. But I agree. That's a good point. They could have just had it where she's trying to be his bounty hunter and she's trying to master that, like the scene in the bar. Um, just to get to a negative, that's the part that I like the least because she goes in and she challenges all these bounty hunters because it's like reasons. There's like no logic behind why she did that. She just did it because she wants to prove that she's a bounty hunter. Or
I believe she was doing, and I actually believe she was doing that. Remember, because we talked about the fighting scene, how she wanted to fight, and that was helping her memory. So I feel like it was possibly because of that, and that's why.
And that's
she
what
did
I mean.
that.
It wasn't conveyed very well, And then she tried to rally them to fight with her against, the big cyborg guy,
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, but they just met you,
Yeah, it was like that was a little
very strange. Yeah, it's like it seems a confusing scene. Now, once they started fighting, it was awesome.
The fighting scenes would.
Yeah,
you
it was
would
a roller
not.
coaster ride. It was
You would definitely
wonderful.
not be.
Yeah, if you like just great fight scenes, you're gonna love Alita Battle Angel. It has plenty of them, and they're all so well done and fun and just well choreographed. It's like ridiculous. It's
Jerry. Through the movie, Jerry goes to the bathroom, and as he's going to the bathroom, I'm like, man, you leaving him, so you gonna miss out then, So I'm like, I wouldn't leave on this,
I missed like one scene.
So it's just, it was definitely, to be honest, overall, I enjoyed watching the movie. I definitely was pulled in.
Yeah.
Overall, the story was, it had its ups and downs, but the main reason to go watch a movie is to obviously get pulled in, and feel something from it, So in that, with that being said, I did feel that. So I feel like it did a good job personally for me.
Agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Even with the issues I have with the story pacing, feeling like it's kind of rushed. Overall, it was a great watch. It was very entertaining.
Yes.
And I did feel that, Alex likes to call it the dun-dun-dun-dun moments where she fights the bad guys and takes them out. And those are all great moments. And to me, Alita is a superhero movie, and that's what a superhero movie should do. It should make you have that feeling at some point where you feel like, yes, this is a hero, and he or she is badass, taking out the bad guys, and you definitely get that sense, in quite a few scenes actually. So to wrap it up, what's your grade? What would you give Alita Battle Angel?
So, I'm gonna go with a B minus. I'm gonna go with a B minus.
Yeah,
B minus.
I'm with you. I'm in the B area, so I would give it a solid B, just because it was very entertaining, visually compelling. Also, I'm excited. I'm actually excited to see the sequels that will come out. The subsequent sequels.
If they can bring those sequels out, definitely I'm going to see it again.
I would definitely watch it again.
Yes.
So, and like I said, in comparing Captain Marvel, because there are similarities in regards to memory loss.
A lot of similarities.
In
terms of what the plot is.
Yeah, even the plot itself. Yeah, that's true. How she gets him back, what she remembers, the fact that she was a warrior. So, just it's kind of easy to compare. Maybe we can do another video where we actually go point by point to point out those. But this is our general take, and I have to say I'm not excited to see another Captain Marvel movie. I'm really not. I'm just not.
Me either.
I just don't feel it.
You ain't the only one in that
Yeah.
movie.
So, but Alita, I am. I mean, I can't wait. And box office wise, I think it did pretty good. Not as good as Captain Marvel, actually. So, but story wise, I want to see the next installment. I'm actually looking forward to that.
Sure.
So solid B minus from Alex.
B minus. I don't want to be too harsh. But yeah.
Okay, so a solid B from the both of us. That's our take on Alita Battle Angel. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Please like and share our videos, and check out Fantastic Dimension Alphatron, available on Amazon right now.
Check it out. Support us, man. We got great stories.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes.
Have a good one. Make it a wonderful day.